Hey guys, this is Charlie with Anything for Adventures. Today I'm going to be setting up some of the shelters that I've called home over the years on many of the adventures that I've been on. What I'm putting up right now is called a Zeltbahn. It's a poncho, one piece that can be snapped over your body and hold in place. It's made out of canvas material, a lot like the Army bivouac tent. You can snap one with another one and have a two-person shelter. You can snap three together, have a three-person shelter, or snap four together. You can snap 8 of them together. You can snap 16, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You can have basically tent city out of this. It's a lot of work. It's hot in the summertime, and it's really cold in the winter. I wore this just to see what it'd be like out as a poncho out in the cold, and I almost froze. So, and I've already got them all snapped together, and I'm going to put up a configuration of 4 of them, and it's supposed to be a 4-man tent. In all honesty, men my size, you could only get 2 or 3 in there. 4, it would be little small guys. So it works off the same principle as the Army bivouac tent, just in a different triangular size capacity. It has 2 different camouflages. It's got the brown for the winter and the fall, and it's got the green for the summer and the spring. What are you doing, buddy?
Digging.
Digging? What are you digging?
That.
You digging your airport for your airplane?
No, I'm just digging it kind of and made in a hole with this, and there with this spike.
Well, I ain't heard nothing like that in 197 years.
Amazing.
And this is what the Zeltbahn looks like when it's put up. You would just take the flap and you would close it. I found a deal on eBay for 3 Zeltbahns of this camouflage, and I found this one for like 20 bucks on eBay. It is a different color and not everything lines up, so what I'll have to do is I will have to buy one more of this colored so it will fit and line up correctly. But basically this closes together, and you can supposedly get four people in here.
How?
And what I did is I put a little stove in here with a stove pipe, and in the winter, and it got really hot really quick. So I would not recommend putting a bunker stove in there whatsoever. So, but this is one of the shelters, and I'll show you what it looks like with me in there. I don't see how 4 people could really sleep in here. Me and my gear and maybe little man could all fit in here.
Well, I made some friends to get one friend again to tap and get in here.
Oh, I ain't heard nothing like that in 197 years. Okay, all right. All right, this is the poncho configuration. If I would have been a German during World War II, and I would have started putting this together, any battle that I was going to be involved with would have been over with by the time I got this thing buttoned up. These buttons suck, but I guess that was the technology of the time. Okay, I probably buttoned one too many. I was just reborn. And this is what it would have looked like in the poncho configuration. And then they would have put their kit belts on to hold everything in tight. And with the shape of their helmets, it would have let water run off past their neck onto this. But if they were just wearing their hats, I'm sure the back of their neck would have got wet. Also, their helmets, they would put their helmets on top of this to keep water from getting in this hole right here. It would have been a lot, but if it would have been a downpour, I'm sure they would have got wet. So if they put their helmets on there, as it come down, it would have run down the campus. Feel like a go-go dancer. This is the 2 Zeltbahn configuration. Not a lot of room, and this is supposed to be for 2 people. One right there and one right there. I guess they ended up being really, really good spooning buddies. So, now I'm going to break it down into 1 Zelt and see what that looks like. And this is what a 1 Zeltbahn shelter looks like. And I'm telling you, there ain't much room in there for me. I would have been one pissed off German in the fetal position, getting wet, madder than hell. So literally, for a man my size, it would take 3 of these put together, or the 4 complete set to get under here.
Hey, Dada.
Hey, buddy, why don't you get under here? Here, sit up underneath here, okay? Now, if you were pinky size, it'd be perfect. Come this way. Look, if you were tinky size, this would be perfect. Now, I did take this down an opposite way of it should have been put up. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just I had them all snapped together from where I used them back in the winter one time. And then they would attach this to their belt that they would carry, and they could put their canteen, or, well, they would put their mess kit right here and their canteen on their belt. And it was a pretty easy way of carrying all their gear. I would not have wanted to have carried this. I'm sure it was probably the best technology they had at the time, but this sucked. I'd put it up by myself. This is made for if you got all 4 pieces, 4 men would be putting this together, which it would go by a lot quicker. But putting this up by myself, this absolutely sucked. So, but if I was going to be in the campsite for a long period of time, I could put this up and it would keep me dry maybe. Summertime, you're gonna burn up in this. It's just, this is not the way to go. There's a better way to do this. What I'm going to put up now is the U.S. Army bivouac tent. I'm going to do 2 configurations. I'm going to do one that's completely put together, and then I'm going to do one just by itself, because you can still use it as a shelter even if you have one. The principle behind this is each serviceman would have a poly pad, and they would lay out their bivouac tent, lay the poly pad down on it, wrap it up, and as they rolled up the poly pad, they would put in a stake, and then a pole, a stake, a pole, a stake, a pole, and it would be about that big. And I'll roll one up just to show you what it would look like, and then you would put that on top of your rucksack. It's not bad for, you know, a quick put up. It's not bad for you know, sunny conditions, maybe a little bit of shade, whatever. Keep the wind off of you. But if it's raining, you're gonna get wet. You'll be a miserable cookie. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna configure the other side together with it, and I will show you what two of them put together look. You make sure that they're snapped on both sides. Now, my first night in this thing, in 1991 basic training with another soldier, they made us dig a trench and throw the dirt up over the bottom of the bivouac, all the way around. And right here at the front, they made us come out and dig a deeper hole. That way the water would run down a trench and pool up right here. You can tell how much room is in here. Not enough for me. It's long enough. And you will stay dry. But it rained on us our first night. And that morning I got up and I run my hands across this right here, and water just come right through. If you touch it, the water will come through the fibers. And then we had some jackass who decided they was gonna open up our tent, me and my battle buddies, and jump in, and they hit this and broke it, and the whole thing fell with 3 goofy ass soldiers stuck inside. I beat the piss out of him. And that is the U.S. Army bivouac tent. Now I'm going to do a poncho shelter. You can either run a ridge line with a piece of 550 cord or string, or you can cheat like I do and use bungees. It's not that I'm lazy, I'm just lazy. Technical difficulties. There'll be a grommet in the center. Doesn't matter if you go long ways or short ways, but there's a grommet in the center of it. And you can adjust for how high or how low you want to go. And what I do is I pull the hood. What I do is I pull the hood closed, and then I just tie it off. That way there's no rain come down through the hole and drip on my face while I'm trying to sleep. You just tie it off. Come here, buddy. Help me out. Crawl up underneath here. Go right through there. Because I can. Okay, go see Pat. Go bother him. Go. Go. Now what you do is you would put your poly pad down or your bedding, and you can sleep in here comfortably. And I've slept in one of these with the rain coming down, and it just kept me dry all night long. Now I am cutting short because my head can see sky. I'll just scoot down a little bit. If I have to, I can just pull my feet up. But this would keep me dry in a small drizzle. It doesn't take very long to go up. You can use 550 cord for the guy lines, or you can buy guy lines, or you can just use bungees. Real lightweight, plus the good thing about the poncho is you can make your poncho floats with it. You can use it as shelter, you can use it as a poncho, you can use it as a litter. There's so many things that you can do with a poncho. And this is one of my favorite ways to sleep, is under a poncho. I did it many a nights down in the jungle. Didn't matter if I had a shelter over my head or not, I still ended up getting wet. And in the jungle, it's hot during the day and ball sack cold at night. Now this is the shelter I've been really wanting to open up and try out. This is the, I think it's called CS, Improved Combat Shelter.
This is what it looks like put together.
Now this, on the back side, is a place for your gear. Now it is on the back side, and I really don't like that. But from the inside, you can unzip it and reach your gear. So you do have a place for your gear, boots, whatever. To stay dry. Now, I can get in here and lay from end to end, and my feet barely touches the bottom. If I move up, my head will almost be touching, and you can unzip right here to get your gear. It's almost like a PVC feeling, PVC plastic feeling bottom. But on a cold night, I believe if you got in here and you wrapped up in your poncho liner, it'd feel like somebody wrapping their warm arms around you, and you would sleep good all night long. So. Show you the inside. Holy crap. It is kind of small. And then there's your gear right there, and it would stay dry. And just wrap up in your poncho liner. It's better than love right there, a poncho liner. I think I'm gonna go sleep now.
finish out this video, this so far is my favorite shelter. It's completely enclosed. You wouldn't have to worry about bugs getting in there to you unless they got in with you. The poncho is my next favorite. It's about as easy as this, if not easier to go up, especially if you got bungee cords. The bivouac tent, it has had its place in time. My grandfather and probably my great-grandfather used those at some point when they were in the military. I've used it many a times. My oldest son used it when he was in the Scouts. It's got its place. I'll still keep it. You know, wintertime, it's perfect. You get in there, get to breathe in that body heat trapped in there. It'll keep you warm. The Zeltbahn, if you're by yourself, don't waste your time. You put 4 of them together, it's just gonna be too much work. I was just absolutely wore out putting that thing up by myself. So it is definitely a 3 or 4 man tent if you're gonna put all of them together. I like the concept of, you know, one person bringing 2 or 3 or 4 others and making a shelter. But if you're by yourself, it's just too much work. So, but, and I've got some other tarps to make shelters with, but it's just normal stuff. It's like bushcraft tarps. I do have a camouflage like the Zeltbahn. It's some kind of oak camouflage or something, and I just made a tarp out of it, and it's real good in the winter time. So, but putting all these shelters up, I've wore myself out today. So I think I'm gonna close this video out, and I guess I'll see you guys on the trail.